The disadvantages of being born into a rich family. Being born into wealth is a dream many people have nursed at some point in their lives. I see Bill and Melinda Gates on TV, and I can't help but wish they gave birth to me. I mean, I probably wouldn't mind them adopting me at this age if a suitable offer was made. Would you? I'm sure my biological parents wouldn't mind either, so don't give me that look. Being wealthy has a lot of advantages. The thought of meeting all your needs and wants with just the click of a finger is a fantasy an average person wants to realize. This pushes a lot of people to sacrifice peace of mind and quality of life in pursuit of wealth, sometimes even to illicit activities. But is it all worth it? Do we feel we will be better off if our parents had birthed us into more wealth than we could ever need? Is there really a downside to having everything we need at our disposal? The pitfalls of being born into wealth. Having a rich parent and having all the fancy things money can buy, the vacations, fast cars, the toys, the 30-bedroom palace, the staff who would be at our beck and call, seems heavenly, right? But it may not be so ideal. Let's look at some of the ways being born into affluence is not what it's cracked up to be. 4. Patience and perseverance. Patience, they say, is a virtue, a key ingredient in maintaining success and attaining success. A child born with privileges might become accustomed to growth and easy successes. But what happens when everything comes crashing down? Will he have the patience of nurturing it back to its former glory? This is less likely because his privileged life hasn't taught him the virtue of cultivating patience. He will find it difficult to go back to the drawing board and slowly dig himself out of his rut. Remember, his easy life makes it less likely for him to want and expect instant results. But I dare say that the experience that comes with the daily fight for survival, the victimization, and rejection the child raised in a poor background would have to face growing up will definitely prepare him for circumstances like this. It's one thing to keep renovating a building, but a whole new level to build from scratch. All builders are renovators, but not all renovators are builders. So in conclusion, I really have nothing against children born into wealth, because it was not their doing to begin with. They also have lots of things to be admired, such as their boldness when confronted with challenges, the right education, and qualifications. However, all of the shortcomings mentioned above can be corrected with the right parenting attitude. Due to the exposure and maturity that being independent brings, we see children of the wealthy and affluent choosing to stand on their own and ignoring the parental privileges they were born with. This, to me, is the way to go. A perfect example is Anderson Cooper of CNN, who despite having a huge inheritance that comes with being a Vanderbilt, decided to distance himself from it. He instead chose to work his way to the top. He is actually one of the top earners in his field today. Money he can't be denied of, even if his rich mother wanted to. A wealth to be proud of is one that is earned. Bill Gates has promised his entire wealth to charity, thus ensuring that his kids are not totally dependent on him. It doesn't matter how much you give a person. If they are not mentally able to handle the pressure that comes with the expectations, it would be a total waste of time. Teaching kids of all classes, whether rich or poor, to be independent is of vital importance. We all want a better life for our children, but if it's the sort of life that will put them on a path to empty decadence, then it's not worth it. And for those of us who still want to be adopted by Bill Gates, 3. They have an entitlement mentality. I saw a movie recently, entitled Knives Out, that played out the scenario I'm about to explain. Sorry for spoiling the movie if you haven't seen it, but I do want to make a point with the storyline. A rich grandfather had children and grandchildren alike, whom he loved and cared for. One of his favorite grandsons, who has never worked a single day in his life, found out he would be cut out of the will. Not just him alone, but the rest of the children as well as the grandchildren. He got annoyed and planned to overdose the old man and then pin it on his nurse, who was later discovered to be the sole heir of his properties. What was his reason for cutting all his relatives from his will? Well, he felt they were too dependent on him, and he needed to teach them to be independent and responsible adults. But it was a little too late, in my honest opinion. This was a trait he ought to have instilled in them a long time ago, and not in their late 50s and 60s. One of the hardest decisions made by wealthy parents is telling their kids that they would have no part in an inheritance they've grown up to enjoy. They end up making the same mistake their granddad made in the illustration above, but they do it too late. Entitlement is something rich kids grow up with. Although it gives them a bold outlook about life, it also makes them feel they deserve everything they want. When they don't get it, they blame everyone else but themselves.